We'll do some more dialogue at the end. The lesson, though, I'm going to be sharing this screen for the duration of the lesson. And I would encourage you to take notes, but at the end of the lesson, I send this to you as a PDF. So you'll be able to look at that later. And then more importantly is we're recording the screen. So you'll be able to go to YouTube and I'll send you a link to that and you can look at it at a later time. So if you don't catch something, or if you're wondering like, what did he say? Or I didn't quite catch that. You'll be able to get that at a later time. So if you're ready, I'm ready. I've got what your dad sent over for us to work on. And we'll go for about 30 minutes and then I'll talk to your dad at the end and give him some feedback and go from there.
All right.
You ready to get started? Maybe. Do you have a notebook out or something you can take some notes with?
It's over here.
Awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm going to stop my video. You're welcome to stop yours. But I do have the assignment that you pulled up or that was sent over. So I'm going to snip some questions in from the assignment and we're going to talk about those. I hope that through this lesson, you're able to have a little better feeling about math for the upcoming school year. So let me snip in this first problem here. So are these assignments done virtually, like online, or are they something you submit?
I think you submit it either way.
How are you submitting it? Are you turning something in to your paper or to your instructor, or are you doing these online?
Well, for this, I'm doing it on online.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you're looking at quadratics right now in class. Is that right? Let me know if the audio is coming in clear.
Yeah, come in clear.
Great. So you guys are looking at quadratic equations right now, and quadratics are these things that are U-shaped. You probably heard that in class, all right? Now, the first question, it asks you for another things. It's like, what is the vertex? Okay, it asks you, is this a min or is this a max? Okay, what are the roots? What's the axis of symmetry? So they're asking you a bunch of questions, okay? And if you go back, like if you could just go back to like what you were doing previously, now you would be given like an equation of a line. There were two things you generally talked about with an equation of a line. The first is the slope. The second was the y-intercept. Do you remember that from last semester or previous class? Maybe yes, no.
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. So what I'm trying to show you here is that when they're asking you things about the quadratic, they're just asking about characteristic. It's like, how tall is someone? What's their hair color? What's their eye color? Things like that. These are just features of the graph. Now, can you tell me the vertex from this graph? Can you tell me what it is?
It's a positive.
So it does open up. That's for sure. It definitely opens up. The vertex, though, is this min or max. So it's either the bottom or the top. So can you tell me that ordered pair that's there?
Oh, is
What is,
that the vertex?
yes, where I've put that dot is the vertex. Can you tell me that as an ordered pair?
As an ordered pair?
Yes. So like, what is the X value and then the Y value?
That's
If you said something, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I know. I just I don't know what that is.
Okay, so let me show you the answer and you tell me if this makes sense. 0, -1. That's the X value and that's the Y value. 0 is the X value, Y is -1.
It's -1, 0, or 0, -1.
Yeah, the order does matter. The order definitely matters here. Okay, so it's always X, and you can think of X as being right or left, like how much right or left are you going? And you can think of Y as up or down. Have you heard that before? Seen that before?
Yeah, I've been doing this. I did this all last year.
Okay, good. Well, so familiarity helps here. So this quadratic, you already said that it opens up. When it opens up, it always has a minimum.
Mhm.
Okay. If it opens down, it always, always, always has a maximum.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's a couple more things that it asks for, but I'm gonna copy the graph down so so we can just start fresh here. I copy the graph down here. There's a couple other things it asks for. The second thing that it asks for is what's called the axis of symmetry. Now, just like we did on camera, if you go to a mirror, you see yourself. If you look at yourself on camera, you see yourself. So the axis of symmetry, it's a line. It's a line such that when you look at what's on the left and right of that line, it's the same. You can think of it as like being a mirror.
Mhm.
All right. Now, in terms of like how you find it, it comes from the vertex. So you just told me, or we talked about the vertex is 0, -1. The axis of symmetry is always, 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 always the x coordinate of the vertex.
Mhm.
Okay, so but it's an equation, right? You can't just give me the x coordinate. You can't just say, hey, Matthew, it's 0. It's like, no, it's an equation. That means it's x equals 0. Any questions on that or anything that's unclear from what I've just talked about?
Oh, it's all clear to me.
Okay, great. Next thing we're going to talk about are roots. So here's the same graph. Roots are where it crosses or touches, because it could just touches the x-axis. Okay, so the x-axis is the horizontal one. The y-axis is the vertical one. Hopefully this is things you've seen before. Where does this touch or cross the x-axis? Can you tell
Um,
me?
around XX at like 1, positive
One?
1,
Okay, good. Is there another one? Is there another place where it crosses or touches the x-axis?
-1.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. So there's a couple of ways that you can answer this. According to the way your assignment is presented, they just want the number there. So you would put in -1 and x equals +1. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, it's all clear. All right. Fantastic. So what I want to do now is we're going to get to number 2. We got plenty of time to go through this, but I want to give you one that's more like number 1 before we proceed. So I'm just going to go ahead and graph one here and I'll snip in a picture for that. So while I'm doing that here, did you do anything fun over New Year's? Anything you're looking forward to this year?
No, not really.
Not really. Okay. All right. Well, let me get this. There we go. All right. I'm going to just snip this in. Okay, so I've got a new problem for us to look at, very similar to the last one. Make this graph just a tiny bit smaller. Okay, so the first thing I'd like you to do, Aiden, is tell me the vertex. And the vertex is an x and a y value. It's this point that I'm pointing at right here. Can you tell me the vertex, please?
1, 4.
1, 4. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what you just told me. You go right 1, which I totally agree with, but then you go up 4.
Wait, oh, that's a negative?
Yes. And maybe it's hard to see, but it is down. So we want to go down. We want to change that to down 4.
It's very far. It's
Yeah.
very
Okay. There's some options on your side to be able to zoom in. What gives we can talk to Dad about that a little bit. I know you're not using your school computer, but it's always good if you're at a desk or something during these lessons to be able to do that. So your vertex, right 1, down 4. There it is. Does this quadratic open up or down?
down.
Down. Are you sure?
No, it's up.
It
Sorry.
looks just like the last one, right? The last one, where is it? Where did we say that? You told me, you said, hey, Matthew, this one opens up. Why does that open up? Like, what do you see when you look at that conveys this opens up?
Up. Yeah,
So
the
some people, do you watch football?
no. Sorry,
No.
I'm very tired. I just woke up.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm just trying to gauge, what you know, what you don't know. Some people think of this as like a touchdown, but you say don't follow football, so that's a bad analogy. You've got to somehow convince yourself that up, and some people like the U and up, just because this is U shape. This one definitely opens up. Okay. Now, is this place right here, the vertex, is that a min or is it a max?
It's a it's a min.
Why is it a min? What about that makes it a minimum?
Uh,
You are correct, but tell me why.
why? Because that's what I learned in a class.
Okay, that's a good answer. Think of the minimum as a smallest value
Hmm.
or lowest. Would you agree that's the lowest?
Yes.
And a max, if it were a max, that would be the largest or the highest. So sometimes using a similar word helps to explain it. Okay. Now, let's look at a couple other things here. So you just told me the vertex is 1, -4. Let's now talk about the axis of symmetry. Do you recall what I said about the axis of symmetry a few minutes ago?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what the axis of symmetry is as an equation for this one?
Equation.
Yes, it's an equation. Like you have to, it's got an equal sign in it. It's got a letter. Can you tell me what that is? And if
Is
you're
it,
not
is
sure, sorry, go ahead.
it y equals mx plus b?
Let's go back up and look here. Let's go back up and look where we talked about it. Okay, so here it is, axis of symmetry. It's always, always, always the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so you have to, do you ever use like Quizlet?
No.
You've never, okay. So before Quizlet, it's a good thing you don't know about it. I had to make 3x5 cards, and on like one side of the 3x5 card, I would put axis of symmetry. On the other, I would write x coordinate of the vertex. You have to somehow remember when the instructor says, what is the axis of symmetry? You have to think it's the x coordinate of the vertex. You have to like convince yourself that that leads to that. The axis of symmetry leads to the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so when I ask you down here, when I say axis of symmetry, you're going to say what?
Um, the x-axis.
It's the x coordinate of the vertex. X coordinate of the vertex. Like axis of symmetry, you want to think, okay, axis of symmetry, that means it's the x coordinate of the vertex.
All right.
So when we do another problem, when I say, Aiden, what is the axis of symmetry, you're going to say,
The x coordinate of the vertex.
great. And even if you don't fully understand it, sometimes it's just good to be like, this is what it is. I don't understand it, but that's what it is. Which of these two numbers up here, the 1 or the -4, is the x coordinate of the vertex?
It's the one.
The 1. So it's x equals 1. Okay. And x equals 1 is this line right here. It's like a mirror. Everything to the left of it is the same as the right. Everything to the right is the same as to the left. All right. And then last one here, we talked about the roots. Do you remember what I said about the roots in the previous problem? Or would you like me to go back up and have us review it again?
Can you review it again, please?
Yes, absolutely. So let's go back and look here. And again, I'm going to send this to you at the end. I would certainly encourage you to be writing this down, but it's okay if you just want to do it visually right now. The roots are where the graph crosses or touches the x-axis. The x-axis is this horizontal one. Okay, so when I ask you now, when I say, okay, Aiden, what are the roots? You say it's wherever it crosses or touches the x-axis. Here is the x-axis. Can you tell me the two places where it crosses the x-axis?
Crosses the x.
Yes, crosses, where that red line crosses the x-axis.
3
Okay, I agree. What's the other
and
one?
-4. I mean -1.
-1, perfect. You got it. X equals -1 and x equals 3. Perfect. Okay, let's go now and look at your second problem on your assignment here. Do you have math every day or every other day? What is your math schedule like?
Every day except for Thursday.
You must love Thursday.
Hmm?
That's a joke. Hopefully you. I was wondering if you like the days you don't have math or if you like math at this point.
I love when I don't have math.
Yes, yes, I get it. All right. So when you look at this picture on the right, your teacher wants you to know right away that this is a quadratic. And of course you're like in the quadratic section, but like you as a math student, because you're going to take probably at least one more math class, you've got to know, okay, that's a quadratic. It's U-shaped. Okay. And the vertex is always the place at the top or the bottom, depending on whether it opens up or down. So here is the vertex, this dot that I've drawn. Can you give me the X and Y coordinate of it? And again, you go left or right first. You know, you always move horizontally first. You're going to go left, and then you're going to go up. Can you give me the two values, the X and the Y values for the vertex, please?
The X and Y.
Yes. What is the X and Y coordinate up here of the vertex?
It's a -2, 4.
-2, 4. Perfect. All right. Now, the next question really leads from the previous one, but it really comes from just looking at the graph. Like they want you to decide, but you could actually decide it right away whether this has a min or a max. And what say you? What is your answer here? Does this one have a min or a max?
Max.
Max. Good. Now the axis of symmetry, what does that refer to from the vertex?
The middle of the vertex.
Yes, it's that line that cuts right through the middle of it, right? But in terms of the words we use to remember it, it's the X coordinate of the vertex. Which of these two numbers is the X coordinate of the vertex?
-2.
-2, but it's an equation. Okay, you have to write X equals -2.
All right.
Now the roots, do you remember what the words are that we talked about for the roots, or could you tell me in your own words what the roots are?
The
Either
roots are
go ahead. Sorry.
the are like the other sides of the, like -4 is 0.
Okay, there's a root at -4. I agree. What's the other one?
0.
0. Yeah. Good. So you can tell them to me, and I think that's great. The words that I used, and the reason that I think the words are important is because they work in other problems. Meaning that like it's not just this problem it will help you with. It's where it crosses or touches the x-axis, and you've given me the correct numbers here. But sometimes the words really mean more to us. Do you like to read? Are you a reader?
Sometimes I read.
Okay. There's power in books, right? The words mean something. Sometimes when we just see these graphs and equations, they don't mean anything, but when you put words down, there's some power to that. Is there anything about this problem that you do not understand?
No.
Okay. Now, the reason I ask that is because the next problem is basically the same as this problem. It's basically the same problem. And I'll ask one more time, because if you have questions, I want you to always like say, hey, Matthew, like I didn't understand, or you went too fast, or that wasn't clear, because I want to give you a problem now and have you try it on your own. I want you to see if you can do this one from start to finish. So if you truly don't have any questions, that's fine. I'd like you to try this on your own here and tell me your answers as you go here. So
All right.
if you know the vertex, tell me. If you're not sure, please ask a question.
All right. So the vertex is -1, 2. The vertex is a max.
Now, I heard you kind of pause there. Is that because you're not sure if this is the right vertex?
No, I know it's the right vertex.
Okay,
Just the axis of symmetry is it's 2.
it's 2. Now, you probably have heard me say this now a few times. The axis of symmetry is the x coordinate of the vertex. The way you've told me this is the y coordinate. So do you want to change the vertex?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So remember, you first move right or left. So you're going to move right 2. So the first coordinate of the vertex is 2.
All right.
And then from there, you're going down 1. So what number goes second with the vertex?
-1.
-1. Good. Okay. Axis of symmetry is x equals 2. That's perfect. Now the roots here, this one, I mean, you might consider that it's a trick question or something like that. I'm going to ask you a question for answers. Does this graph cross the x-axis?
No.
No. Does it touch the x-axis? So a touch would be like if it just kind of bounced off it. Is that the case here? Is it bouncing off it? I'm not trying to trick you. I'm hopefully this is straightforward. Like,
It's not
so
the-
this does not. It does not touch and it does not cross.
yeah, it's not.
So so there is I'm not sure what you put in your problem set, but it's like D and E does not exist, something like that. But it in words does not cross or touch the x-axis. Any questions on that?
No.
Cool. Okay. So actually the second page is really similar. So it's good. Be through this in no time. Do you have math early in the day, late in the day, or does it change depending on the day?
It's late in the day.
Late in the day. That probably doesn't help. Probably ready to get out of school by then. All right, now this one, it's not graphed all that well. I think it's a little bit harder to see where the vertex is in this one. It's kind of there, I guess. Let me just make a mental note here if that's where it actually is. Oh, okay. Are you able to zoom in on these graphs when you're working on them? Or is this
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yes.
Because this the one of the roots isn't very clear because it doesn't actually go through the kind of perfectly on the line there. Nevertheless, we can just estimate here for the moment, unless you're turning this in. What is the approximate vertex of this graph?
The vertex is negative. It's 2 negative. No, it's 1 -6.
Yeah. Now it's kind of a little lower than that, but I can't zoom in, so I'm not gonna. I mean, I would not give you a problem like this, but it's roughly that. It's a little bit less than -6, but without the equation we couldn't say for sure. Is it a min or a max?
It's min.
Good. Axis of symmetry, x equals what number?
X equals -1.
Very good. -1?
No, just regular 1.
Just regular one. Good. Roots, where does it cross the x-axis?
-5 and 5 and 7.
Yeah, it's kind of left of -5. It's -5.25. You can work that out with your instructor. All right, let's take a look at one more here. All right, so I'd like you to try working this one out on your own. And if you have any questions, please ask.
All right. So so the vertex is 4. It's a max.
Wait, the vertex is always an ordered pair. It means there's an x and a y value. You've just given me one number.
Oh, 0, 4.
So here's where 0, 4 is on the graph. Is that what you meant?
No.
Okay, so the order matters. Order matters. Are you driving now?
Am I driving?
Yeah, Matt, do you drive?
No.
Okay. Hopefully I get to some questions where you say yes. I'm trying to come up with some analogies that would help you to understand why this is important, but that's okay. X comes before Y, and that's correct now. So go ahead. What's the min? Is it a min or a max?
It's a max. It's a
Good.
max.
Good. Axis of symmetry.
Axis of symmetry, it's a 4.
Okay, so now it's an equation. It's an equation. If we go back up and look at the previous problem, it's always an equation. X equals,
All right, x equals 4.
right. So if you just wrote 4, you might get credit, might not, depends on the instructor. Because I'm emphasizing it so much, I'm really hoping you would write an equation. Okay, and can you give me the roots?
No roots.
Does it cross the x-axis?
Cross the x-axis.
Does it cross? Does it jump from one side to the other?
It doesn't.
It does not. Does it touch though? Does it kind of bounce off?
It doesn't.
So maybe it's hard to see, but it like I see that approaches, hits, and bounces off. And that was one of the things I was hoping that you would have gotten in the classroom. It definitely has a root at 4 because it bounces or touches at that number.
Oh, all right. So
It's like it gets really close, nudges up against it. You know, I don't know if like I'm looking at a closet door. It's not like kind of right on the wall, but it's like right kind of almost on it. You know, it's kind of that kind of deal. It's like it's really close, must be touching it kind of thing. The second root here is 4. Okay. And the reason is whenever it bounces or touches, it's called a double root. Or you might see the words repeated root. Okay, and I don't know which language your instructor uses for this. Sometimes it's you just put one number and that's fine. I don't really know. I'll obviously learn a little bit more about that as I continue to help you here. So we got one more here, and then we'll be done. Let me snip this one in. I only do about 30 minutes for the initial try it out lesson. So oops, let me jump in here. We don't want that. There we go. All right, I'll have you jump in here. The vertex is right there. Can you tell me the ordered pair of that vertex, please?
all right. So the vertex is -7, 1.
Perfect. Is it a min or a max?
It's a minimum.
Very good. Axis of symmetry as an equation, please.
It's x equals 1, -7.
-7, yeah. Good. And are there any roots? Does it ever cross or touch the x-axis?
Roots do not cross.
So there would be none or DNE or something like that.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording here and